vitamin D, because that's another one that is a very, very hot topic. Vitamin D is rat poison that you should stay away from at all costs.
So, yeah, I think I was saying back in 2013, I want results, right? So if I'm going to have somebody take something, I need to see something happen. And I just didn't see it with vitamin D. I was giving a lot of it. Too much vitamin D can constipate in this book. And I'm going, okay, wait. Hair test, vitamin D raises calcium, lowers potassium. That's a hypothyroid pattern. Constipation goes with hypothyroid. I take too much vitamin D, I get constipation for 2 days. It's all starting to fit together now.
Right.
I kind of started uncovering things about, when dairy companies would add too much vitamin D to the milk, some babies died. There was actually a history of fortification of milk. This was back in the 50s. I have it on my Twitter. Like, children were dying, and they're like, oh, they just have an enzyme deficiency of this very particular genetic enzyme deficiency. And they stopped fortifying the foods for a while because children were dying from it. Vitamin D3 is rat poison. Then I go and I'm like, that's an interesting statement because, I always thought it was Coumadin and warfarin, right? And I go and I look it up and I find Tera D3, Tera D3, and D-con. Are we talking about a con here, maybe?
Yeah.
And then I started learning about how it sends dogs and cats to the vet a bunch of times because their kidneys are failing from eating the vitamin D. And people go, oh, it's the dose. And I go, sometimes these things are just poisons. Mm-hmm. And then this is where it gets better. In South Africa, back during the apartheid days, they actually trialed out vitamin D as a genocidal poison to use on people.
Straight vitamin D.
Yeah. So they were going to give people enough to kill them, like rat poison.
Wow.
And then people just keep bringing up this, it's the dose that makes the poison. And I'm going, it's a form of oxidized cholesterol. Like, so vitamin D is your body makes, cholesterol. It goes up to the skin, the sunlight hits it, it oxidizes it, and then it goes back into your system. Okay, we need sunlight. We need light. Like, humans need light. That's why we don't have a lot of hair.
Right.
So we can absorb sun. Mm-hmm. And I was going, okay, so maybe it's just that we need light, but maybe this thing that they've sold us on, this narrative of vitamin D being the most important thing, isn't the truth.
Vitamin D itself is a hormonal byproduct of light that itself is toxic, and it's like the sun is helping us to detox. That, like, there's so much more we're getting from the sun than we can even possibly fathom. It is the source of life here in this realm.
Pay attention to this. My 16-year-old son has been struggling with various issues since he was just under 2. We tried many natural therapies, including vitamin D, MD prescribed since 25-hydroxy-D was chronically low. Okay. We stopped vitamin D on our own as we noticed calcification in soft tissues, because that's what it does, and blood levels of D continuing to drop. Hey, wait, they did blood testing. Imagine somebody doing blood testing and seeing evidence, and this is the definition of insanity, right? You're taking vitamin D, and the vitamin D levels are continuing to drop, and then you go, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Why is it continuing to drop if you're taking it? Okay. Some of his symptoms have decreased since on the Love Your Liver program times 9 months. After recently checking active vitamin D after 3 months of the Spurdy Sun Lamp, which we recommend, we just sent out a newsletter. You will like it. After recently checking active vitamin D after 3 months on the Spurdy Sun Lamp, we discovered that his level is off the scale on the high end and further decreased on the inactive vitamin D. Okay. Subsequent testing showed low 24-hour urine calcium, normal level serum calcium, and high parathyroid. So he'd been doing the Love Your Liver. They did lots of Spurdy, okay? This was the before thing. So I don't know when this was. But she gave an update here, so that's what we're saying. He's currently doing nicotinic acid, topical Magcahol, and 50/50 salt. Can't tolerate zinc or molybdenum yet. So let me just say, he's when he did this, when he couldn't tolerate zinc or molybdenum, very toxic. You guys need to know that if you don't tolerate the supplements, especially the basic ones that we do, it's because of how toxic you are. It's not that the supplements are bad for you, it's that you're really toxic. And the more toxic you are, the more a little bit of it can trigger the copper dumping and other things of this nature out of your liver, and you're leaking bile, so it goes into your bloodstream. What we consistently see, like with Kelsey, where I was telling you she didn't used to tolerate hardly any zinc. She tolerated selenium and molybdenum okay, but she didn't hardly tolerate any zinc. And now she's up to, she can take some days 20 milligrams of zinc. And you see, we have tests showing that her blood copper came down, her hair copper came down, and she is now tolerating more zinc. And for those of you who know people with parathyroid issues, let me just tell you that our work, parathyroid issues are actually quite easy to fix, and they fix themselves very easily, like you're about to see. Update, my son's recent lab results show normal blood calcium from, he had normal serum calcium, normal blood calcium, that's back, almost normal parathyroid hormone. So he had high parathyroid hormone, and it's almost normal now. And almost doubled inactive vitamin D. That would be the 25-hydroxycholecalciferol. His vitamin D levels had not gone up since they started dropping in 2020 when he was on vitamin D supplements. If for those of you, Joe, you might want to grab the rickets vitamin D. Rickets is a meat deficiency. And I talk about in that video how to fix low vitamin D, which is the same stuff we do for all this stuff. All we did this time was about 2 months of Spurdy Sun Lamp, 5 to 6 minutes a day for 5 days a week on the bare back, and topical Magcahol almost daily. No oral supplements except twice weekly nicotinic acid. That's flush niacin if you didn't know. Finally, some improvement in brain fog, although there are still some bad days. We intend to continue on the Love Your Liver path as we've only seen improvement by following these principles, even though not perfectly. So while you're going through this process, you have to adjust. This mother adjusted for her son, and they're doing these basics. Magnesium, potassium is what Magcahol is, topical, and then the Spurdy lamp. And they're generally eating or moving towards eating the Love Your Liver way. Okay? So that's one. If you got vitamin D problems, you've got toxicity problems, you've got deficiency problems. I go over those in the meat and rickets video, okay?